Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran with the jewels of the Quran and spells. We have reached Surah Al-Isra, the night journey, the journey at night, if you will, also known as Surah Bani Israel, because it has one of the major themes, of course, is the children of Israel. This surah, though Imam Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, began the selection with verse 23, and the context of these verses is being good to one's parents and being good to one's relatives, but also to be good to the poor, to the travelers, those who need help. So, why not the first verses, despite their importance? Because today, if Surah Al-Isra is mentioned, then what comes to mind? Comes to mind the Palestinian issue, the Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque, and we'll try to address some of the issues. First of all, in the as directly mentioned in the Quran, and also what is relevant in terms of the reality on the ground. It's an amazing thing that this surah, despite its the fact that it is a rather lengthy chapter, the Isra itself, the journey at night, out of 111 verses, only one verse is directly describes the journey at night. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. Glory be to the one who took his servant, this is about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who took his servant by night from the sacred mosque to the furthest mosque, from the Al-Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs. Indeed, He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He alone is the all-hearing, all-seeing. To show Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam of the signs of that are described here as min ayatina, the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Isra itself, first of all, it's by night, as it's translated here. The verse begins by Subhan, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indicating that something great is going to take place, to be mentioned. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who took his servant, so it is not about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. Think about it in the context, and I think it's very important to understand the context. The context has been described as the year of sadness, عام الحزن, in which the Prophet ﷺ lost his uncle Abu Talib, who appears not to have become Muslim, but he loved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He defended Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he praised Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in a poem, and he knew that this is the truth, but the point is he defended the Prophet. He provided protection while he was addressing the people in Mecca, and also the surrounding areas. He also, the Prophet ﷺ, lost his wife Khadija, the supporter who accommodated him, who supported him, who believed in him, who assured him when the first revelation took place, because it was definitely a shocking experience. A shocking experience, as a Jewish professor, and these are amazing things that sometimes we mention in the United States. She, in fact, she's old and describing herself as agnostic, making sure that the audience would not mistake her as a Muslim, because she said that if the only thing that we have on record is the reaction of the Prophet ﷺ to the first revelation, it would suffice as a proof of the truth validity of his prophethood, coming from an agnostic Jewish professor. So Lady Khadija, anha, she supported him, and she assured him also by referring to his character, helping people, taking care of his family, relieving the burden, taking it upon himself, really. So 40 years, he never uttered a word about his status, his nothing, just simply a very decent, trustworthy, Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He was known in Mecca, as in the story of Abu Sufyan. Before he became Muslim, he went to Jerusalem and he met with Herakl, the king of the Romans, and he asked Abu Sufyan, was he that was the prophet? Well, he asked about the Prophet Muhammad. He asked Abu Sufyan, was he known to lie to his people? And Abu Sufyan said no. And Hercules came to the conclusions that he would not really not lie to people and lie against God. At any rate, when the Prophet ﷺ lost his main supporters, one might describe it as the one in public and the supporter at home, he tried to find some refuge in Al-Ta'if. It's a city, it's a mountainous region. Though I have never been there, it's literally it is situated on a high mountain with agricultural city. Today it produces flowers from which they extract perfumes. So he went to invite them to Islam, and they just let their children to hear the Prophet ﷺ. They threw rocks and the, his foot, the Prophet ﷺ's foot, bled, and here he was given a chance to avenge himself against the Taif. Uh, the the angels, and he chose not to. He was told that the angel responsible for the mountains, he would topple the two mountains adjacent to Taif. And the Prophet ﷺ, who was really a mercy to the world, chose not to mentioning that, so that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring forth from their offspring people who would say La ilaha illallah, and subhanallah, almost very quickly the Taif became Muslim, and it has been Muslim 100%, inshallah. So this is the context. The Prophet ﷺ was very sad. So, and this journey to Jerusalem is meant also to consult the Prophet ﷺ, to see the signs, to support the Prophet ﷺ. He needed that, and of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have taken Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from Mecca to heaven directly, but Jerusalem was meant to be the let's call it kind of a transit station, but the idea is about Jerusalem itself, because we talk about the Holy Land. It is described in the Qur'an as أرض مقدسة. الأرض ويا قوم ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. This is Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam addressing his own followers, the children of Israel. And it is the blessed land. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَلُوطًا الْأَرْضَ التي باركنا فيها العالمين. And we have saved him, rescued him, meaning Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and Prophet Lot, Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, to the land that we have blessed for the nations. العالمين. And the holiness, of course, the holiness of the Holy Land should not be conflated with the geopolitical maps of the day, of today. We talk about the Sham. We talk about some scholars say that the Holy Land extends all the way to Tabuk, and that's in the northern part of Saudi Arabia. So all the area in Jordan, all the way to Tabuk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. And let's remember that Jerusalem at the time, Al-Aqsa Mosque was barren. Al-Aqsa Mosque is the name of the space. A name of the space, Mujiruddin al-Hanbali said that Al-Aqsa Mosque is the name of the space because there were no buildings. For all the buildings are novel. They were added after Jerusalem was conquered. We talk about the Muslims besieged Jerusalem during the time of Umar al-Khattab radhiallahu anhu, and Patrick Sophronius offered to give the keys of the city to Umar al-Khattab in person radhiallahu anhu. So Umar al-Khattab traveled from Medina to Jerusalem. It was the only time that he traveled north this far. And in Jerusalem, it's, of course, he concluded the pact of Umar with Patrick Sophronius, assuring the Christians of the sanctity of their holy places. One of the most beautiful moments in history in terms of interfaith relations. And of course, Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab was witness to how the Prophet ﷺ dealt with the people of the book, especially the delegation of the Christians of Najran, who came and they were hosted by the Prophet ﷺ in the mosque in Medina. And the story goes that when Patrick Sophronius invited Umar al-Khattab to pray at the Sepulchre Church, Umar al-Khattab declined politely, stating his fear that future generations of Muslims would claim this as a right had he prayed inside. He stepped outside and prayed, and where he prayed later on, much later on, we have the Mosque of Umar. The Mosque of Umar and this Sepulchre Church, they rub shoulders, literally. Literally, they are adjacent. And whether it's in Jerusalem, whether it's in Bethlehem, which remarkably also, we talk about the Church of Nativity, there's a Mosque of Omar there too. But at any rate, whether it's Jerusalem or Bethlehem or Nazareth or Amman or Beirut or Damascus, Cairo, we have mosque and church. We have the mosque, the minaret, and we have the tower of the church. And I'm saying this because the Swiss members of the parliament who voted against allowing minarets in Switzerland, they definitely were short-sighted. Because had they known, maybe they know, had they known the religious topography, if you will, the religious scene in the Middle East, which reflects centuries of, in fact, almost 15 centuries of convivencia between Muslims and non-Muslims, especially the people of the book. Places of tolerance, so Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab helped himself in cleaning the area of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and from the writings, the journal of one of the Christian pilgrims who described what he saw from Mount of Olives, we know that Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab built a prayer hall on within the perimeters of Al-Aqsa Mosque in the southernmost part of the mosque of Al-Aqsa Mosque / Al-Haram al-Sharif, because Mujid al-Din al-Hanbali himself in الأنس الجليل في تاريخ القدس والخليل, he this book on the history of Jerusalem and Hebron, he said that he measured the length and width of the Al-Aqsa Mosque twice, wall to wall and wall to wall. And the width he mentioned exactly. He said that he measured it from, of course, with a team twice, from Bab al-Rahma, the Gate of Mercy, but it's known in English as the Golden Gate, all the way to the Tankaziyya school on the western parameters of Al-Aqsa Mosque. I think Tankaziyya school was confiscated after the Israel occupied East Jerusalem in 1967, and it is used for Israeli occupation forces. And part of it is above the western corridor of Al-Aqsa Mosque, and extremist settlers were allowed to celebrate inside the Tankaziyya school. At any rate, all the buildings were novel. The major development took place during the time of the Umayyads, who built also the Dome of the Rock, the southernmost building the Qibli. The architecture looks like the architecture of the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus. And the importance also is that the Prophet ﷺ led the other prophets in prayer. This leadership, as we might say, like receiving the keys of the city, like this is the culmination of the history of revelation. Al-Aqsa Mosque is for the Muslims, and it has been and will remain, inshallah. The name of Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Haram al-Sharif, is official now in UNESCO, thanks to the effort of Jordan, the Jordanian government. And of course, people should know that the Hashemites, the Hashemite royal family, has been the custodians of the both the Christian and Islamic holy places in Jerusalem for more than a century, taking care. So the Awqaf department, the Islamic Awqaf department, Jerusalem is part and parcel of the Jordanian government, governed by law. This is important to remember. There is an agreement between Jordan and Palestine signed by His Majesty King Abdullah II and President Mahmoud Abbas March 31st, 2013, recognizing Jordan, recognizing the Hashemites as the custodians of the Christian, Muslim and Christian holy places in Jerusalem. The blessedness, we said that it extends beyond the Al-Aqsa Mosque, beyond, because it says its precincts and it does not give a distance. We know, we already said that we should not conflate holiness and blessedness with the geopolitical maps, and definitely not the city, the municipality borders. I can speak about that because it seems that some people try to associate holiness with the city limits, which is absurd, really. When the news came to the Meccans, of course, about the journey at night, the night journey, some of those pagans, idol worshippers, went to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, and they told him that your friend says that he went to Jerusalem and returned during the night. They know that it takes a month to travel to Jerusalem. And he said something beautiful. This is really this is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He said, "In kana قال فقد صدق." If he said that, he said the truth. Hence he is صدق. Hence he is a Siddiq. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, it is his faith, it is his belief, it is his trust. Though he was very close to the Prophet ﷺ, is not known to have narrated many traditions. But one can see how the Prophet ﷺ was very, very close to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. This is why he asked him to stay after most people migrated from Mecca to Medina. There were two waves of migration to Ethiopia, to Abyssinia, so that he could, to travel together, really. ثاني اثنين اللي هم في الغار usually. Second person in the story of the Hijrah. And the Prophet ﷺ asked him to lead the prayer when he was sick towards the end of his days, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا أنه السميع البصير. Just also pay attention that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who took his servant. It is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is omnipotent. It has nothing to do with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ability. It has a lot to do with his status. This is honoring the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a question about whether it was a dream, a vision, or both. That he himself was taken in that journey at night, the night journey. In person, that's how I would describe it. Had it been a dream, nobody would have objected. So if somebody just wakes up today and he or she says, I dreamt, like somebody from, let's say, from Mecca, and somebody would say, I have dreamt that I went to Tokyo. Nobody would say, no, you cannot dream about going to Tokyo or to Cairo or to Johannesburg. No one would say, no, you cannot dream about going to these places. It's a dream. And the Meccans knew that it's not really a dream. This is why they tried to challenge. And they asked the Prophet ﷺ to describe Jerusalem. In the hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to me Jerusalem, Bayt al-Maqdis. Exactly like we look today at a monitor, at a screen. And he started describing Jerusalem to them, and they knew Jerusalem because they were traders. The famous, there was one caravan that went north, and one caravan that went south to Yemen, but one caravan that went to Sham, to Greater Syria. It's not the ability of the Prophet ﷺ. The status of the Prophet ﷺ, yes. So Mecca to Ta'if failed for a reason. We said in previous sessions that no prophet was ever accepted with open arms. They were persecuted, some of them paid with their own lives. But Mecca to heavens, Mecca through Jerusalem to heavens. And the first part, Mecca to Jerusalem, is Al-Isra. Jerusalem to heavens is Al-Mi'raj. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the case of other prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised Jesus Christ, peace upon him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised Idris alayhi salam. So there has been other cases, but here we talk about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And it seems also that this is the culmination, because the rest of, immediately the narrative shifts to Prophet Musa, Prophet Moses, peace upon him, as if really this journey at night completes the the story of all the prophets and the peoples who had a relationship with the Holy Land, with Jerusalem, that ultimately now it's the time of the Muslims. You will find that people who are still resisting, but this is what it is. Inshallah, the next session we'll speak more about this story, but especially about the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Until then, subhanakallah wa hamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.